Good morning, everyone. I'm Manju Mathur. I'm teaching you the 8085 microprocessor. You know that in the last lecture, I already discussed with you the history of the microprocessor and also discussed the pin diagram of the 8085 microprocessor. So you know that the 8085 microprocessor is the basic processor. Now I will discuss the architecture of the microprocessor 8085 microprocessor. So here is the contents which will be discussed here. That is the introduction, architecture, and operation of 8085, block diagram of 8085 microprocessor, ALU section, timing and control unit, instruction register and decoder, interrupt control, serial input output control, and also the bus organization. So first of all, in the introduction, we will discuss what is the 8085 microprocessor. So you know that what is the mean of the microprocessor? Microprocessor. Micro means small and processor which can do anything, any process, processing just like addition and logical operation which can be processed by the processor. So and you can define also the 8085 microprocessor is the general purpose register. It is a programmable and it is also the clock driven integrated chips. So the basic functional blocks are there. Which is used to 8085 microprocessor. So first of all, you can see here what is the operation of 8085 microprocessor. With the 8085 microprocessor, we can different types of the operation can be done. That is the memory read, memory write, IO read and IO write, because the microprocessor can be attached with the memory and also with the input output devices. So there is a basic operation which can be done with the 8085 microprocessor. We can read the data, we can write the data, we can read from the input device, and we can also write the output device. So this is another the arithmetic operations and logical operation can be done in the 8085 microprocessor. The externally initiated operation is also there, which is used to connect the extra peripheral devices. So these operation can be done with the 8085 microprocessor. So you can see here the architecture of the 8085 microprocessor, in which we can see the different types of the blocks here. You can see here different blocks just like a accumulator, ALU, timing and control unit, flag register, temporary register, instruction register, instruction decoder and machine coding. And there are some more registers B, C, D, E, H, L, and stack pointer, program counter, incrementer, decrement. These all register, these all blocks we can discuss here one by one. You can see here the first of all ALU. What is the ALU? ALU means arithmetic and logical unit. Arithmetic and logical unit. You as already discussed, the processor can be done all types of the arithmetic operation and logical operation. But in the 8085 microprocessor, we can do only the addition and subtraction and increment and decrement. Division and multiplication operation cannot do with the 8085 microprocessor. These operation can be done in the advanced microprocessor. But in the 8085 microprocessor, we can do only the arithmetic and logical operation. And arithmetic operation means addition, subtraction, increment and decrement, and all the logical operation just like a ANDing operation, ORing operation, XORing operation, complementing, or we can the comparing operation is also the logical operation. So it can also done by the 8085 microprocessor. So this is the work of ALU, arithmetic and logical unit. So this is the main part of the microprocessor, because this is the heart of the microprocessor. The basic part is the ALU, but without any register we can't do any type of operation. So there are so many register which can use to store the data. You can see here all the registers are the sizes of the 8-bit. It means it can store only the 8-bit data. First of all, the main register which can be used for the operation, that is the accumulator. Accumulator, what is the accumulator? Accumulator is generally, it is a only 8-bit register which can be used to store the 8-bit data. but basically its main purpose is used for the arithmetic and logical operation. All the arithmetic and logical operation, the one data should be stored in the accumulator. It is a mandatory. The by default, all the data, all the arithmetic and logical operation, the one data should be in the accumulator, and all second data, because we need a minimum two data to for addition, subtraction, logical operation. The second data may be in the memory, maybe in the any type of the other register, but the one data should be in the accumulator. And one more thing, when you do the arithmetic and logical operation, the result is also be stored in the accumulator. So this is the special purpose register we can do. We can say here the accumulator is the main register which is used for arithmetic and logical operation. Means all the result is also stored in the accumulator. Here you can see here the temporary register is also temporary register. Temporary register is used the temporary data. As I said that we have to use the two data for the arithmetic operation or the logical operation. So one data should be in the accumulator and second data may be in the memory or maybe in the any type of the register. But for when the data will be come out in the temporary register, for one from the temporary register it will be come in the ALU. So one data should be in ALU from the temporary register and one data should be in the from the accumulator, and the all operation is done in ALU operation, and the result is also saved in the accumulator. So the temporary register, which is also the 8-bit register, so it can store the 8-bit data. Here this is, you can see the temporary register there. So the basic जो block diagram में we can see the basic was arithmetic and logical unit, and second one is the accumulator, and third one is the temporary register, and the fourth the register, the flag register, which is used to to say about the status of the result. As I said you, all the result is stored in the accumulator, but the operation is done in the ALU. After the operation, after the completion of the operation, we have to check the what is the result of the data, the result of the operation. So the status of the result can be checked in the flag register. You can see here the flag register is attached with the ALU. You can see here flag register is attached with the ALU. The ALU, the result of the ALU is can be seen in the flag register. Okay, what is the status of the operation? We can see here it is also the 8-bit register. The ALU is also the 8-bit register D1 to D7, and but in the 8-bit register only 5 flip-flops are used to show the status. Means only the 5 status can be checked by the flag register, that is the carry, parity, auxiliary carry, 0 and sign flag. You can understood by the example that we can see here the flag register is the 8-bit register. Okay, we can also write the here D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 and D7. D0, D0 means it shows the carry. Carry means if there is a carry or no carry. After the addition, either any carry is generated or not. In the subtraction time, if borrow is generated or not. If there is a carry, the flip-flop, this will be 1. If there is a no carry, it will be 0. It means this is the flip-flop. We know that the register consists with the flip-flop. So there is 8-bit register means there is a 8 flip-flops. So D0 flip-flop will be set if the result is 1, and if it is will be 0 if result is 0. D1 is a don't care condition. You can see here it is a don't care condition. It is a don't care condition. And D2 is used for parity check. We can check the parity of the result. Parity of the result means there is a even parity or the odd parity. Even parity means, you know that even parity means what is the how many number of ones there in the result, how many number of ones. If number of one is even, it means there is a even parity. If number of one is odd, it means odd parity. It means we can see here, if P is even parity, so that is 1. For odd parity, it will be equal to 0. This flip-flop will be reset. It means 0. The D3 bit is again the don't care condition. D3, D4. Okay. So this is the parity bit, and D3 is again the don't care. Don't care again. We can by default we here use the 0, and the D4. D4 is used for auxiliary carry. Auxiliary carry means, auxiliary carry is, what do you mean by auxiliary carry? Auxiliary carry, we know that there is a 8-bit data. 8-bit data, and the 8085 always use the hexadecimal number to for the processing. So and hexadecimal always consists with the nibbles, 2 nibbles. So when the D3, when there is a carry between the D3 to D4, if carry is forwarded from D3 to D4 bit, so there will be is the auxiliary carry. So we can check in the result if there is auxiliary carry or not. So you can see if there is a carry, if auxiliary carry, it will be 1. If no auxiliary carry, it will be 0. So it will be 0. No auxiliary carry, it will be 0. Similarly, D5 again is the don't care condition. So auxiliary carry, and D5 again is the don't care condition, and D6 is used to check either is a 0 or non-zero value. Same it will be, and the D7 will be show the either is value is positive or negative. If there is a 0 value, for the 0 value it will be 1. It will, if there is a non-zero value, it will be 0. So the flip-flop always set or reset in the flag register according to the result. Similarly, in the sign flag, if negative value, if result is negative, it will be 1. If there is a positive value, it will be 0. So flag register is very important in the 8085 microprocessor because it shows the result of the status of the result. So you can see here, if we check the flag register, we can check value, the result is either even parity, either 0 value, or a negative or positive. All status can be checked by checking the flag register status. So we can understand by this example. We are taking one example for the addition of two 8-bit number, and then we will check what is the status of result. So take an example ki, in the A register, there is a value of 15 in the hexadecimal number. This is in the hexadecimal number. And in the B register, there is a value of 25. Again, it is a hexadecimal number. Now, when we want to add these numbers, these all A and B, these are two numbers, then what will the status of the flag register? You can check here. First of all, we will change in the binary number. That A, that will be 1. 1 can be right 0, 0, 0, 1. And the 5 in the binary, we can write here 0, 1, 0, 1. So this is the 1 and 5. Similarly, in the B, There is a 2. 2 can be written as 0, 1, 0. You can write 0, 0, 1, 0, that is 2. And 5 again, so 0, 1, 0, 1. Now add these number. Add these number, then 1 plus 1, 1 and a 1, that is 0, and there is a carry. Again 1, 1, 1, 0, this is the carry. You can see 1, there is a no carry. So 1 plus 0, that is 1, 0 plus 1, that is 1, 0 and 0. So now in this result will be shaped in the accumulator. Then we will check here what is the status of the result. You can see here the first of all is there is a carry. Carry always generated by the D4 bit. So you can see here there is a no carry. So if you want to check in the flag register, what will the status of D0 to D7 bits? You can see here D0, D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 and D7. This is 8-bit register. Now by checking this result, we can find the value of D0 to D7. First of all, if there is a carry, we can see here that there is a no carry. It means already discussed, if there is a no carry, the D0 bit will be 0. Now D1 is a don't care condition, so by default it will be taken as 0. Again the D2 bit is always used to find the status of the parity. You can see here the number of ones is 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the even parity. So even parity means it will be 1. D3 again the don't care condition. You can see here. So by default there is 0. D4. D4 as already told you, this is the auxiliary carry which is always generated by D3 bit to D4. We can see here there is a no auxiliary carry D3 to D4. There is a no auxiliary carry. It means again it will be 0. What is the D5? D5 again the don't care condition. So by default it will be 0. And now the D6. D6. What is the D6? D6 always show the either 0 value or non-zero value. We can see here this is a non-zero value. If value is non-zero, it means it will be 0. For the 0 value, it should be 1. But here we can see that this is a non-zero value. It means the D6 flip-flop, it should be 0. Now the last D7. D7 always said to you what is the positive or negative. If there is a positive value, then it will be 0. If there is a negative value, then it will be 1. We can see here the result. This is again the positive value. It means it will be 0. So from the flag register, we can check the status of the registers, status of the result. We can, so what is the value of the flag register in the hexadecimal? You can see this is the 0 and this is 4. So in the flag register, the value will be 04. So by the flag register, we can check the status of the flag, status of the result. So I think you are easily understand by this example. This is the main part of the arithmetic and logical operation, because the flag status always set the status of the result. We can check the condition will be checked always the checking the flag register when we use the conditions. If there is 0, if there is a no 0, we will use in the programming in the next lectures. So next this is the flag register. Now the next block diagram. In the block diagram we can see there is instruction register, general purpose register, program counter concept and stack pointer. So in the we come again in the architecture. So you can see here. So there is some general purpose register B, C, D, E, H or N. These are called the general purpose register because it is used to save the any 8-bit data. All the register size is 8-bit. We can store the 8-bit data in all registers. And if we want to save the 16-bit register, 16-bit data, we can use in the pair. In the pair, only pair is fixed, that is BC. DE, and HL. If we want to store the 16-bit data, we can use in the pair. So these are the general purpose register which can be used to store the data for the arithmetic and logical operation, and also used for the programming. So these register can be used in the program. You can see here the stack pointer. This is stack pointer. It is also the register. It can store the 16-bit data. The size of the stack pointer is the 16-bit. 16-bit data can be what is the stack pointer? First of all, you have to know what is the stack. Stack is temporary memory which can be used to store the temporary data or the temporary program. This is the part of the memory. This is the part of the memory which can be used to store the temporary data. So these are the stack. You can see here that is the stack. The memory, which is size is a 16-bit address, and the size of the stack pointer address, it can be used to store the address. Stack pointer always used to store the address of the stack. And how many stack pointer? The stack pointer is always 1, which is used to store the temporary data, but store only the 8-bit data. 8-bit data can be stored and always used in the LIFO principle. LIFO principle, you know, last in फर्स्ट आउट. जो भी बाद में आप जो उसमें पुश करोगे वो पॉप पहले होगा, तो ये लास्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट पे वर्क करता है. सो दिस इज द LIFO प्रिंसिपल. एंड ऑलवेज यूज द टॉप एड्रेस ऑफ द स्टैक. टॉप एड्रेस मीन्स कहाँ तक वो फिल हो चुका है. यू कैन सी हेयर इफ देर इज एड्रेस, देर इज सम एड्रेस इज फिक्स फॉर द स्टैक. We can see in the example, means I explained you by the example, that is if there is a 3000 to 3FF tak, 3000 to 3FF tak memory is used for the stack. So 3000 to 3FF the memory address, the used for the stack. And if in this memory, in this stack, if there is some data is also available, so 3FF and now the 3FFE. तो कहाँ तक आपका फिल हो चुका है, यानी 3FFE तक. स्टैक कहाँ तक फिल है, यानी कि आपका नेक्स्ट डेटा जो भी आएगा वो इसके ऊपर आएगा. यानी आपको स्टैक पॉइंटर ऑलवेज ये शो करेगा कि आपका वो एड्रेस कौन सा है जहाँ तक आपका एड्रेस, आपका डेटा फिल है. तो स्टैक पॉइंटर विल बी stack pointer always show the 3FFE because the data is filled in the 3FFE. So this is the role of the stack pointer. Now what is the program counter? Program counter is also the 16-bit register which is also used to store the address. It is also the 16-bit. This is also 16-bit. This is also 16-bit. The program counter always store the address of the instruction which is to be executed. When we run the program, when we write the program, all the programs all written in the memory and predefined memory. For example, there is some small program that is the addition of the 2 8-bit. So you can see here. On the 7000, all the data or the memory address always on the hexadecimal. So there is address 7000. On the 7 address there is some instruction here, MVI A00 and 7001, that is 7002. After the 7002 we can see here in the 7002 there is some different address, MVI B02 and 7004, that is add B. So you can see here the 3 instruction of the program. The program counter, what is the program counter roles here? You can first of all you have to store the initial address in the 7000. When after the 7000 is stored in the microprocessor can be run through this address. After the execution of the MVI A00, the program counter automatically incremented and it will store the 7000p, 7002. It means it means the program counter always save the address of the next instruction, to be executed. So this is the program counter always used to store the address. Now the last 16-bit register, here we can see the increment and decrement latch. When we use in the program when we use the branch instruction, there is always increment and decrement. So we can use here the increment decrement address latch when one increment or +1 or +-1 can be increment or decrement by this address latch. So these are the special purpose register, that is stack pointer, program counter, increment and decrement latch. Beside that, we can see here there is an instruction register and instruction decoder and machine cycle encoding. All the instruction has some opcode value, hex code value. This is called the operation code, which is used in the program. All the operation code is stored in the instruction register. After that, it will be decoded and then execution is started. So these are the basic block diagram. Beside that, you can see here there is a two more blocks, that is the interrupt controller and serial input output control. Serial input output control and serial input output control. What is the role of here? We know that the 8085 microprocessor is the 8-bit microprocessor, है ना, 8-bit processor. This is called 8-bit processor, means 8-bit data can be transferred with the microprocessor, but it can be transferred in the parallel form. It can be transferred in the parallel form, but some devices is not compatible with the 8-bit parallel data. So these only use the serial data. We can transfer, these devices only can accept the serial bits or can give the serial bit data, can transfer the serial bit data. So there is a serial input output control which is used to serial bit to receive the serial bit and also the transfer the serial bits. So there is a converter which is used to convert the parallel data into the serial, which is give out to the external devices, and also used to serial bit to the parallel, which is used to the microprocessor. So for the microprocessor, we need only the parallel data. So there is some conversion serial to parallel bit, and also some initial devices is just like a printer. It always always receive the serial bit. So this printer, this parallel bit is converted to the serial bit. So there is a serial input output control, and one more last, that is the interrupt control. Interrupt control, last block diagram we can see in the architecture in the topmost left corner. The interrupt control, there is a 5 types of hardware interrupts can be used to interrupt the microprocessor. These interrupt control, there is a trap, RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 5.5, and INTR. These interrupts can be it will be discussed in the next chapters also. And when the 8085 receives any type of the interrupt request with these pins, if these are accepted, then it will generate, the 8085 generate the INT signal, that is the interrupt acknowledgement signal. After getting the interrupt acknowledgement signal, the device start to transfer the data. So these are the block diagram, and these these are microprocessor architecture we can discuss in the NPTEL course, also the YouTube. When you search in the YouTube, we can see the architecture at the 8085 microprocessor also discussed in this lecture. You can see here this is accumulator 8-bit, temporary register 8-bit, and instruction registers, flip-flops. All as I told you, all are discussed in the YouTube lecture also. And also you can see in the NPTEL There is also available, the notes is available in the NPTEL link. You can note the online courses, this link also, and you can check here. So this is the all the architecture details can be available in the NPTEL link. So that's all. That's all my side. So we will discuss in the next lecture the pin diagram and also discuss with the best organization. Thank you so much.